This video is all about power tool brands and where to spend your money. And it's going to be opinion based, so you might disagree with me on certain things. If you do, let me know in the comments because I'm keen to hear your thoughts. But as I see it, there are 4 levels of power tools that you can buy into. The first level is the cheap tools, and in the UK they are made by some of the brands that you can see on screen now. You can buy these tools in supermarkets, department stores and large DIY stores here in the UK. These brands make tools that are cheap and good for getting started and for occasional use, but they're built to a price point. You probably shouldn't expect them to last too long, but having said that, some of them might surprise you. Many years back, I was using exclusively tool brands in this category, although not necessarily by all of these brands. But many of the tools served me well, and some of those tools are still working today. The build quality, components and ergonomics won't be the best, and the motors tend to be quite loud and noisy. And it can be difficult or impossible to get spare parts for these tools. Many of these tools will be made in places like China, and it's quite possible that you'll occasionally find the same tools but rebadged under a different brand name. Nowadays there are also a whole host of other tool brands that you can find online on places like Amazon, but these are brand names that often seem to come and go, so in my opinion, unless you just need one specific tool for occasional use for as little money as possible, these are best avoided. Sometimes some of these brands will make specific tools that might fall into the next level, which is the prosumer level. The prosumer level tools are made by some of the brands like these on screen now, and these tools are generally built for DIY or light trade use. You can expect a step up in quality and slightly more refined look and feel when compared to the cheap tools, and that might make them a better option for the more frequent user of tools. And I've had some really good tools from some of these brands over the years, and I still use a couple of Evolution and Ryobi tools in the workshop today. However, I've also managed to kill a few of these tools at this level surprisingly quickly, like my Erbauer impact driver, which only lasted 11 months and then died, and my Ryobi belt sander that died after very little use indeed. And those 2 particular tools dying on me so quickly, coupled with the fact that I was starting to do woodworking much more frequently and starting to work on commissions and earn money from it, was what made me decide to invest a bit more in my tools, because I wanted more reliability. So that's when I started looking at what I call the trade grade tool brands. So onto the trade grade tool brands, but some of these brands also make some tools that belong in the prosumer category. One example would be Makita, and if you take cordless drills as an example, you'll see that they sell some inexpensive prosumer level tools with brushed motors. So for example, this drill, which can be had for about 50 quid. And then some more premium, more expensive drills with brushless motors that are more suited to regular use or trade use. Some of these brands also make some tools that belong in the premium category, which I'll talk about later. In my opinion, if you're using tools on a regular basis, like every day or at least multiple times a week, this level is probably where you're going to get your most bang for buck. I've used tools from 3 or 4 of these brands over the years, as you'll see if you go back through some of my older videos, and these are tools that you can use all day, every day and rely upon. Out of all of the tools I've used by these brands, which are predominantly Milwaukee, Makita and Hikoki, I've had very few problems, and I haven't exactly wrapped them up in cotton wool either. They have been used and abused. You might have seen me over the years using my drill as a hammer before, which I don't recommend by the way, and dropping things off ladders or off the workbench. These things happen all the time, and not only are these tools designed to withstand some of that abuse, but these brands are also more likely to stand by their products. You'll usually get some form of warranty when you invest in them, and spare parts and components will generally be available too if needed. You can also expect great performance, ergonomics, build quality and components. And in terms of performance, if you're working with your tools to earn a living, there are some great tool comparisons online by channels like Oz Tool Talk, Tools and Stuff, and a few others which I'll leave links to down below so that you can see for yourself which tools perform the best. But don't expect one of these brands to come top for each and every tool. It usually doesn't work out like that. You're obviously going to pay more money for these brands of tools, but generally if you're using the tools regularly, it's usually going to prove worthwhile. Then there is the premium level, designed generally for use either by professionals or sometimes for the hobbyists with disposable income who are happy to spend a lot of money to get what they perceive as being the best tools available. I don't have a great deal of experience with these tools in this price range, aside from the Festool Domino DF500, which I bought second hand and have had for a couple of years now. But to be honest, I bought it because it's a tool that does a specific job that isn't available from any of the other tool brands. I also have the Mirka D-Ross sander, which is also a premium tool, although Mirka only really makes sanders and polishing machines, so I've not included them in this video for that reason. I also have a Mafell FM1000 router motor. Those three premium tools have served me well so far, apart from the Mirka, which I had some issues with, and I'll link to a video below about that. But to be honest, I don't see myself investing any further in tools at this level, as I really don't think I'd see much, if any, benefit. These brands also tend to offer excellent product support, warranties, and spare parts will be readily available. Nowadays, most tools are available in both corded or cordless battery operated form, and battery technology is so good now that you won't necessarily always get better performance out of a corded tool, even though a lot of people still think that's the case. I'm not trying to put anyone off buying corded tools, and there are some advantages, but generally cordless tools are more convenient to use. You can use them anywhere. You don't need to be close to a power supply, and you aren't tethered to a cable, which gives you more freedom of movement. A comment that I see quite often is, if you're going to be tethered to a dust extraction hose anyway, what difference does it make if you're tethered to a power cable as well? And I've never really understood that logic, because unless your power cable is neatly secured to your vacuum hose, which I do agree is a nice way to handle the issue, being tethered to two things rather than just one thing is definitely more frustrating. If you had to be punched in the face once or twice, which would you prefer? The downside of cordless tools though are that 1, batteries are expensive, sometimes even more expensive than the tool. 2, you have to change them when they run out of power. 3, you might also need spare batteries for when that happens. 4, batteries don't last forever, so they will need replacing after a few years of use. And 5, some corded tools can sometimes have more power than their cordless rivals. There are some battery operated tools that just don't work as well as corded. Sanders are a prime example. One thing's for sure though, I've predominantly been using cordless tools for the past 3.5 years, and there is no way that I would want to go back to using corded. Some people say that choosing a tool brand is as simple as just picking a colour, but there's a bit more to it than that. If you're going to go with a cordless tool brand, it's best to stick to one platform so that you can share batteries between the tools, and you won't need as much space for chargers and batteries. The best advice I can give would be to think carefully about all of the tools that you need now and are likely to need in future. Find out which brands offer everything that you need and choose based on that. And then you can also decide whether you need brushless motor tools, which are more energy efficient, they require less maintenance, and they are generally quieter in operation, and they should last longer too, but they are obviously more expensive than the brushed motor alternatives. Again, a good rule of thumb in my opinion is, if you're using the tools on a regular basis, all day every day for example, and using them to earn a living, then spending the extra money on brushless is probably worthwhile. If not, brush motors will also do the job just fine. A lot of people say you get what you pay for, but that's not always the case. I like my expensive brand of frozen peas because they taste better, and I like my expensive washing up liquid because buying the cheaper stuff is a false economy because you need a lot more of it to get the same amount of bubbles. But cheap baked beans taste just as good as the expensive ones to me. So you don't always get what you pay for, and that applies to tools too. You might have a great experience with a cheap tool that lasts for years, or you might buy something very expensive that dies very quickly. If you're on a tight budget, and let's face it, woodworking is an extremely expensive hobby, always look at the second-hand market before buying new. You can pick up some great tools for much less money from places like eBay, Facebook Marketplace, car boot sales, and classified ads. Speaking of tools, at its.co.uk, this video's sponsor, you can get all of the tools that you need to get the job done. They even have their own kit builder tool where you can choose the tools that you want and get a discount at the end. They have over 29,000 trade and DIY products in stock, and next day delivery 7 days a week when you order by 7 PM. I'll leave a link to the website in the description box below, and if you use the promo code RAGANDBONE at checkout, you'll receive a free goodie bundle when you spend over £50. Thanks ITS. The tool brand that I use is predominantly Milwaukee, hence all of those red tools behind me. And the reason I've left it this late in the video to mention that is because Milwaukee support my channel and they supplied me with their excellent range of cordless tools. But I didn't want that to cause any sort of bias towards any particular brand. I just wanted to be completely open and honest about what my approach would be to choosing a tool brand if I was just starting out. Milwaukee don't know I'm making this video, and all of the thoughts and opinions in this video are my own. Having said that, I am very happy with the Milwaukee tools, and if you look at some of the tool comparison videos that I'll link to below, you'll see that their tools often outperform their rivals. They also have an excellent range of tools covering multiple different trades, and aside from the lack of a plunge saw in that range of tools, which I'm hoping will be addressed soon, and I know a lot of Milwaukee users have been waiting for that for a long time now, me included. The range has everything else that I need for the work that I do, and I wouldn't hesitate to recommend them. They've served me really well in the past few years. That's it for this one. Please subscribe to the channel for more videos if you'd like to help support the channel, plus get early access to my videos, exclusive content, free project plans and cut lists, and a name credit at the end of my videos. You'll find links to my Patreon and YouTube channel membership in the description box below. Thanks for watching.